Testament of Lewi, Levi, Chapter 1. A copy of the words of Lewi, the things that he decreed to his sons concerning all they were to do, and the things that would happen to them until the day of judgment. He was in good health when he summoned them to him, but it had been revealed to him that he was about to die. When they all were gathered together, he said to them, Chapter 2. I, Lewi, was born in Haran and came with my father to Shechem. I was a youth, about 20 years old. It was then that, together with Shimon, I performed vengeance against Hamor, because of our sister Dinah. As I was tending the flocks in Abel Maol, a ruach of understanding from Yahuwah came upon me, and I observed all human beings making their way in life deceitfully. Sin was erecting walls, and injustice was incensed in towers. I kept grieving over the race of the sons of men, and I prayed to Yahuwah that I might be delivered. Then sleep fell upon me, and I beheld a high mountain, and I was on it. And behold, the Shemaim was opened, and a messenger of Yahuwah spoke to me, Lewi, Lewi, enter. And I entered the first Shemaim, and saw there much water suspended. And again I saw a second Shemaim, much brighter and more lustrous, for there was a measureless height in it. And I said to the messenger, Why are these things thus? And the messenger said to me, Do not be amazed concerning this, for you shall see another Shemaim, more lustrous and beyond compare. And when you have mounted there, you shall stand near Yahuwah. You shall be his Kohen, and you shall tell forth his mysteries to men. You shall announce the one who is about to redeem Yisrael. Through you and Yehudah, Yahuwah will be seen by men. Your life shall be from Yahuwah's provision. He shall be to you as field and vineyard and produce, as silver and gold. Chapter 3. Listen, therefore, concerning the Shemaim which has been shown to you. The lowest is dark for this reason. It sees all the injustices of humankind, and contains fire, snow, and ice, ready for the day determined by Elohim's righteous judgment. In it are all the ruach of those dispatched to achieve the punishment of mankind. In the uppermost Shemaim of all dwells the great glory of the most Kodesh, superior to all Kodeshah. There with him are the chief messengers, who minister and make propitiation to Yahuwah for all the sins of ignorance of the righteous. They present to Yahuwah a pleasing odor, a rational and bloodless oblation. In the Shemaim below are the messengers who carry the responses to the messengers of Yahuwah's presence. There with him are thrones and authorities. Their praises to Elohim are offered eternally. So when Yahuwah looks upon us, we all tremble. Even the Shemaim in earth and the abysses tremble before the presence of his majesty. But the sons of men, being insensitive to these matters, keep sinning and provoking the anger of the Most High. Chapter 4. Know then that Yahuwah will effect judgment on the sons of men. For even when stones are split, when the sun is extinguished, the waters are dried up, fire is cowed down, all creation is distraught, invisible spirits are vanishing, and Gehenna is snatching spoils by sufferance of the Most High. Men, unbelieving still, will persist in their wrongdoing. Therefore they shall be condemned with punishment. The Most High has given heed to your prayer, that you be delivered from wrongdoing, that you should become a son to him, as minister and Kohen in his presence. The light of knowledge you shall light up in Yaakov, and you shall be as the sun for all the posterity of Yisrael. Barakah shall be given to you, and to all your posterity, until, through his Ben's compassion, Yahuwah shall visit all the nations forever. Although your sons will lay hands on him in order to impale him. Therefore, counsel and understanding have been given to you, so that you might give understanding to your sons concerning this. Because those who barak him shall be Baruch, those who curse him shall be destroyed. Chapter 5. At this moment the messenger opened for me the gates of the Shemaim, and saw the Kodesh Most High sitting on the throne. And he said to me, Levi, to you I have given the barakah of the kahuna, until I shall come and dwell in the midst of Yisrael. Then the messenger led me back to the earth, and gave me a shield and a sword, and said to me, Perform vengeance on Shechem for the sake of Dinah your sister, and I shall be with you, for Yahuwah sent me. At that time I put an end to the sons of Hamor, as is written in the tablets of the fathers. And I said to him, I beg you, Adonai, teach me your name, so that I may call on you in the day of tribulation. And he said, I am the messenger who makes intercession for the nation Yisrael, that they might not be beaten. And after this I awoke, and Baruch the Most High. Chapter 6. And as I was going to my father, I found a brass shield. Thus the name of the mountain is Aspis, which is near Gabel, to the right of Abima. And I guarded these words in my heart. Then I advised my father and Reuben that they tell the sons of Hamor that they should be circumcised, because I was filled with zeal on account of the abominable thing they had done to my sister. And I destroyed Shechem first, and Shimon destroyed Hamor. Then my brother came and destroyed that city by the sword. When my father heard of this, he was angry and sorrowful, because they had received circumcision and died, and so he passed us by in his Barakoth. Thus we sinned in doing this contrary to his opinion, and he became sick that very day. But I saw that Elohim's sentence was guilty, because they had wanted to do the same thing to Sarah and Ribkah that they did to Dinah our sister. But Yahuwah prevented them. They persecuted Abraham when he was a nomad, and they harassed his flocks when they were pregnant, and they grossly mistreated Eleazar, who had been born in this house. This is how they treated the nomadic people, seizing their wives and murdering them. But the wrath of Elohim ultimately came upon them. Chapter 7. And I said to my father Jacob, Through you Yahuwah will bring the Canaanites to nothing, and will give their land to you and your descendants after you. For from this day forward Shechem shall be called City of the Senseless, because as one might scoff at a fool, so we scoffed at them. Because by defiling my sister they committed folly in Yisrael. And we left there and came to Bethel. Chapter 8. There I again saw the vision as formerly, after we had been there 70 days. And I saw 7 men in white clothing, who were saying to me, Arise, put on the vestments of the kahuna, the crown of righteousness, the oracle of understanding, the robe of truth, the breastplate of faith, the turban for the head, and the apron for Nebuah, power. Each carried one of these and put them on me and said, From now on be a Kohen, you and all your posterity. The first anointed me with Kodesh oil and gave me a staff. The second washed me with pure water, fed me by hand with bread and Kodesh wine, and put on me a Kodesh and glorious vestment. The third put on me something made of linen, like an ephod. The fourth placed around me a girdle which was like purple. The fifth gave me a branch of rich olive wood. The sixth placed a wreath on my head. The seventh placed the diadem of the Kohen on me, and filled my hands with incense, in order that I might serve as Kohen for Yahuwah Elohim. And they said to me, Levi, your posterity shall be divided into 3 offices, as a sign of the glory of Yahuwah who is coming. The first lot shall be great, no other shall be greater than it. The second shall be in the role of Kohen. But the third shall be granted a new name, because from Yehudah a sovereign will arise and shall found a new kahuna in accord with the Gentile model of the people and for all nations. His presence is beloved as a Nabi of the Most High, a descendant of Abraham our father, To you and your posterity will be everything desired in Israel, and you shall eat everything attractive to behold, and your posterity will share among themselves Yahuwah's table. From among them will be Kohanim, judges, and scribes, and by their word the sanctuary will be controlled. When I awoke, I understood that this was like the first dream, and I hid this in my heart as well, and I did not report it to any human being on the earth. Chapter 9. And after 2 days, Yehuda and I went with our father Yaakov to Yishak, our grandfather. And my father's father baraked me in accord with the vision that I had seen, and he did not want to go with us to Bethel. When we came to Bethel, my father Yaakov saw a vision concerning me, that I should be in the kahuna. And thus we came to Hebron to settle there. He arose early and paid tithes for all to Yahuwah through me. And Yishak kept calling me continually to bring to my remembrance the Torah of Yahuwah, just as the messenger had shown me. And he taught me the Torah of the kahuna, sacrifices, whole burnt offerings, voluntary offerings of the first fruits, and shalom offerings. Day by day he was informing me, occupying himself with me, and he said to me, "Be on your guard against the spirit of promiscuity, for it is constantly active, and through your descendants it is about to defile the sanctuary. Therefore take for yourself a wife while you are still young, a wife who is free of blame or profanation, who is not from the race of alien nations. Before you enter the sanctuary, bathe. While you are sacrificing, wash, and again when the sacrifice is concluded, wash. Present to Yahuwah the 12 trees that have leaves, as Abraham taught me. And from every clean living animal and bird, bring a sacrifice to Yahuwah. And of all your first fruits and wine, bring the very first as a sacrifice to Yahuwah Elohim, and salt with salt every sacrificial offering." Chapter 10. And now, my children, observe the things which I commanded you, since what I heard from my ancestors I have told to you. See, I am free of responsibility for your impurity or for any transgression which you may commit until the consummation of the ages in leading Israel astray, and in fermenting in it great evils against Yahuwah. And you shall act Torahlessly in Israel, with the result that Yerushalayim cannot bear the presence of your wickedness. But the curtain of the Heikel will be torn, so that it will no longer conceal your shameful behavior. You shall be scattered as captives among the nations, where you will be a disgrace and a curse. For the house which Yahuwah shall choose shall be called Yerushalayim, as the book of Henoch the righteous maintains. Chapter 11. I was 28 when I took a wife. Her name was Milcah. She conceived and gave birth to a son, and I gave him the name Gershom, because we were sojourners in the land. And I saw that, as concerns him, he would not be in the first rank. And Kehath was born in the 35th year of my life, before sunrise. And in a vision I saw him standing in the heights, in the midst of the congregation. This is why I called him Kehath, that is, the ruler of greatness and reconciliation. And she bore to me a third son, Merari, in the 40th year of my life. And since his mother bore him with great pain, I called him Merari, that is, bitterness. Jochebed was born in Mitzrayim in the 64th year of my life, for by that time I had a great reputation in the midst of my brothers. Chapter 12. And Gershon took a wife, who bore him Lomni and Semai. The sons of Kehath were Amram, Yeshachar, Hebron, and Uzziel. And the sons of Merari were Mahali and Mushi. And in the 94th year Amram took Jochebed, my daughter, as his wife, because he and my daughter had been born on the same day. I was 8 years old when I entered the land of Canaan, and 18 years old when I killed Shechem. At 19 years I served as a Kohen. At 28 years I took a wife, and at 48 I entered Mitzrayim. See, my children, you are a third generation. During my 118th year, Yosef died. Chapter 13. And now, my children, I command you, reverence Yahuwah your Elohim with your whole heart, and walk according to his Torah in integrity. Teach your children letters also, so that they might have understanding throughout all their lives, as they ceaselessly read the Torah of Elohim. For everyone who knows the Torah of Elohim shall be honored wherever he goes. He shall not be a stranger. He shall acquire many more friends than his parents, and many men will want to serve him and to hear the Torah from his mouth. Therefore, my sons, do righteousness on earth, in order that you might find it in the Shemaim. Sow good things in your souls, and you will find them in your lives. If you sow evil, you will reap every trial and tribulation. Acquire wisdom in the reverence of Yahuwah, because if a captivity occurs, if cities and territories are laid waste, if silver and gold and every possession are lost, nothing can take away the wisdom of the wise man, except the blindness of impiety and the obtuseness of sin. For if anyone preserves himself from these evil deeds, his wisdom shall be glorious, even among his opponents. It will be found to be a homeland in a foreign territory, and a friend in the midst of his enemies. Whoever teaches good things and practices them shall be enthroned with sovereigns, as was Yosef, my brother. Chapter 14. And now, my children, I know from the writings of Enoch that in the end time you will act impiously against Yahuwah, setting your hands to every evil deed. Because of you, your brothers will be humiliated, and among all the nations you shall become the occasion for scorn. For your father Yisrael is pure with respect to all the impurities of the Kohanim, who shall lay their hands on the Savior. As the Shemaim is pure above the earth, and you should be the lights of Yisrael, as the sun and the moon. For what will all the nations do if you become darkened with impiety? You will bring down a curse on our nation, because you want to destroy the light of the Torah, which was granted to you for the enlightenment of every man, teaching commandments which are opposed to Elohim's just ordinances. You will plunder Yahuwah's offerings. From his share you steal choice parts, contemptuously eating them with whores. And out of covetousness you will teach the commandments of Yahuwah. Wedded women shall you pollute, and the virgins of Jerusalem shall you defile, and with harlots and adulteresses shall you be joined. And the daughters of the Gentiles shall you take to wife, purifying them with an unlawful purification, and your union shall be like unto Sodom and Gomorrah. You will be inflated with pride over your kahuna, exalting yourselves not merely by human standards, but contrary to the commands of Elohim. With contempt and laughter you will deride the sacred things. Chapter 15. Therefore the Mikdash which Yahuwah chose shall become desolate through your uncleanness, and you will be captives in all the nations. And you shall be to them a revolting thing, and you shall receive scorn and eternal humiliation through the just judgment of Elohim. All who hate you will rejoice at your destruction, and unless you had received mercy through Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, our fathers, not a single one of your descendants would be left on the earth. Chapter 16. Now I have come to know that for 70 weeks you shall wander astray and profane the kahuna, and defile the sacrificial altars. You shall set aside the Torah, and nullify the words of the Nabim by your wicked perversity. You persecute just men, and you hate the pious. The word of the faithful you regard with revulsion. A man who by the power of the Most High renews the Torah, you name deceiver, and finally you shall plot to kill him. Not discerning his eminence, by your wickedness you take innocent blood on your heads. I tell you, on account of him, your Kodesh places shall be razed to the ground. You shall have no place that is clean, but you will be as a curse and a dispersion among the nations, until he will again have regard for you, and will take you back in compassion. Chapter 17. Because you have heard about the 70 weeks, listen also concerning the kahuna. In each yobel there shall be a kahuna, and the first Yobel, the first person to be anointed to the kahuna, will be great. And he shall speak to Elohim as Father, and his kahuna shall be fully satisfactory to Yahuwah. In the days of his joy, he shall rise up for the deliverance of the world. In the second Yobel, the anointed one shall be conceived in sorrow of the beloved one, and his kahuna shall be praised and shall be glorified by all. The third Kohen shall be overtaken by grief, and the fourth kahuna shall be with sufferings, because injustice shall be imposed upon him in a high degree, and all Yisrael shall hate each one his neighbor. The fifth shall be overcome by darkness, likewise the sixth and the seventh. In the seventh there shall be pollution, such as I am unable to declare in the presence of human beings, because only the ones who do these things understand such matters. Therefore they shall be in captivity, and will be preyed upon. Both their land and their possessions shall be stolen. And in the fifth week they shall return to the land of their desolation, and shall restore anew the house of Yahuwah. In the seventh week there will come Kohanim, idolaters, adulterers, money lovers, arrogant, Torahless, voluptuaries, pederasts, and those who practice bestiality. Chapter 18. When vengeance will have come upon them from Yahuwah, the kahuna will lapse, and then Yahuwah will raise up a new Kohen, to whom all the words of Yahuwah will be revealed. He shall effect the judgment of truth over the earth for many days, and his star shall rise in the Shemaim like a sovereign, kindling the light of knowledge as day is illumined by the sun. And he shall be extolled by the whole inhabited world. This one will shine forth like the sun in the earth. He shall take away all darkness from under the Shemaim, and there shall be shalom in all the earth. The Shemaim shall greatly rejoice in his days, and the earth shall be glad. The clouds will be filled with joy, and the knowledge of Yahuwah will be poured out on the earth like the water of the seas. And the messengers of glory of Yahuwah's presence will be made glad by him. The Shemaim will be opened, and from the heichal of glory sanctification will come upon him, with a fatherly voice, as from Abraham to Yitzchak. And the glory of the Most High shall burst forth upon him, and the ruach of understanding and sanctification shall rest upon him in the water. For he shall give the greatness of Yahuwah to those who are his children in truth forever, and there shall be no successor for him from generation to generation forever. And in his kahuna the nations shall be multiplied in knowledge on the earth, and they shall be illumined by the grace of Yahuwah. But Yisrael shall be diminished by her ignorance, and darkened by her grief. In his kahuna sin shall cease, and Torahless men shall rise from their evil deeds, and righteous men shall find rest in him. And he shall open the gates of paradise. He shall remove the sword that has threatened since Adam. And he will grant to the elect to eat of the tree of life. And Beliar shall be bound by him, and he shall grant to his children the authority to trample on wicked spirits. And Yahuwah will rejoice in his children. He will be well pleased by his beloved ones forever. Then Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob will rejoice, and I shall be glad, and all the elect shall be clothed in righteousness. Chapter 19. And now, my children, you have heard everything. Choose for yourselves light or darkness, the Torah of Yahuwah or the works of Beliar. And his sons replied, Before Yahuwah we will live according to his Torah. And their father said to them, Yahuwah is my witness, and his messengers are witnesses, and you are witnesses, and I am a witness concerning the word from your mouth. And his sons said, We are witnesses. Then Levi finished giving instructions to his sons. He stretched out his feet on his bed and was gathered to his fathers, having lived 137 years. And they put him in a coffin, and later buried him in Hebron with Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob.